And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Prop Stars, our first show on a Thursday morning. We got our buddy TJ here. As everybody knows, he's brought a special friend. This is Dustino right here joining us today. My friends, we have a very exciting show. Some of the things we will be going over today, of course, we have our survivor picks. We do have an NFL preview. We did have Ohtani get pulled during a no-hitter. Tom Brady is wearing a headset. People want to know what he's saying. You have Baker Mayfield in a Hall of Fame trajectory right now. We want to talk about that. You do have a little bit of fantasy surprises, a little bit of fantasy disappointments. We are going to talk about the tush push and exactly how the Chiefs still can't handle it and what's going on. And we got a little Kyler Murray sighting here as just a little caveat to talk about some fun things. But TJ, we'll kick it to you right off the top, man. We did have Shohei Ohtani, right? A couple days ago, he's pitching. He's 5 innings through, no hits, and Dave Roberts pulls him. Obviously, there's the 2023 Tommy John surgery in the innings cap, which is the obvious answer. What are you taking down from this?
Yeah, I mean, it's 68 pitches, right? And I think I know that the safe play is to not play him, right? Don't take a chance. But Dodgers have been not even low-key struggling. I mean, they were going into the season saying if they don't win 110 wins, it's an embarrassment for how much money they've spent, right? And all the back-end contracts and all the BS they're doing. I spoke to Cashman, and his one thing was he goes, it's ridiculous. It's hard to keep up, right? And I just think it could have really gave them the jolt they needed to give them that momentum into the postseason. I understand if you want to pull them in the 7th or 8th or even after a walk. And I think he might have gave up a walk, right? But roll him out for the 6th inning. He's at 68 pitches, and let's see what he's got. And let's see if this guy can make history. The guy has been historic, right? What do you think about that? I mean, I just think it's crazy.
Didn't they end up like putting in the reliever and he gave up a shot and they ended up losing the game?
He got rocked. He gave up 5 innings a second.
Like what are we doing here, bro? It cost you a game? Like, this is bad. That's bad management right there by Dave Roberts. And I get it that I guess you're saying you're already in the playoffs and you're accounting for it and you're trying to cap it so you can save them for the run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing the long game with them there. You got to be ready for the playoffs. I mean, just think about the flack they would catch if he gets injured. I could see going a little further. I don't think they were going any further than 80 pitches with him, to be honest with you. You've already got the playoffs wrapped up. Be interested to see if that was a playoff game, what they would have done. Or if it was they were in a real heated race, or it was the last week of the season and they had they got to win this ball game to get in the playoffs or to secure home field. So that's a tough one. It's just this is the new age of MLB, right? Nobody goes past 100. Very rare they even go past 6 innings.
No, I agree, and I understand there's a limit. We had this conversation with I think it was about Halliburton, right? When you roll him out. Is that let's do a hypothetical really quick. If it's the playoffs, right, and let's say it's the World Series, are you willing?
He's coming out for inning 6. He's
coming out for inning 6 also, right? But are you willing to say, hey, I'm willing to risk an injury to get a World Series? Because me, I am, right? If I'm Ohtani, I'll take the World Series ring and I'll sit out a year. If it's like that kind of, if it's that serious of like, you see what I'm trying to say? On a hypothetical.
Yeah, I think it depends on the player a little bit. I think if Ohtani goes up there and he's your superstar and he says, hey, I want the ball, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like a Kurt Schilling type of deal or whatever, where they just say, they demand it. No, you're not taking me out. I remember Yankees, there were times they'd come out to get him and they'd shoo him. No, I got this.
Oh, yeah. I always love that when
love
when the pitcher looks at the dugout and says, don't you dare. Don't
right.
You
yeah, turn around and go back to the dugout. I got this. He's
Tyson's baseball team getting rocked. Yeah, mine too a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
But regular season ball game, that's just a new age. Think back to Johan Santana many years ago, right?
So do you think Ohtani goes
never the same?
Do you think Ohtani goes 7 or 8 innings if this is like NLCS against the Phillies, like at the bank, like something like
Absolutely.
Right? You definitely roll them out all the way through. You don't let Trennan go in there and give it up. Like yeah,
and the Dodgers have a fairly deep bullpen. So they're thinking, hey, we got a 5-run lead. Let's put it in their hands and let's take care of business. Playoffs are going to change everything. Still going to be on a pitch count, I would assume and would think. But it's just the new age we live in now. You're lucky if guys go 6.
Well,
No,
staying
yeah.
in the baseball, what were you gonna say, TJ?
Tyson says, can you imagine if Nolan Ryan had a no-hitter and they came out and tried to pull him out?
Oh,
He would have
no
grabbed the
chance.
manager by the throat,
Yeah.
walked him to the dugout, and said,
Yep.
sit your ass down.
Yep.
And that was my whole argument with Ohtani. Back to that really quick, and we'll jump right into football. Let him he gave up one walk, but I'm saying roll him out for the 6th. If he gives up one walk or one hit, then I get it, right?
Yeah.
I think this could have been one of those things where, let's say he goes 98, but he gets a no-hitter, and that gives that Dodgers that jolt, that momentum that they much need to get, to kind of push them into the playoff.
Yeah, he was only at 62
the right
pitches.
energy.
I mean, it's not like he was at 85.
Exactly.
He's at 62 pitches. Maybe he goes out for the 6th, throws 6 pitches, gets one of those quick innings.
Exactly, right?
Then we got another conversation.
Yeah, he was at.
But I think it was just a safe play. It was the safe play.
All right, so before we exit baseball, you do have a couple of interesting MVP candidates, right? You got Aaron Judge versus Cal Riley. People are talking about this.
This is a hot topic right now, and
hot
people
topic.
People are
who
fired
do you
up
think's
about
more deserving, like right now? Do you think it's Cal Riley or Aaron Judge?
At first, I said it's hard for me to give an MVP to a guy that's not batting 250, right? Because you can't even average one hit for every 4 at bats. You're not getting a hit per game with the big dumper, right? Judge is well over that batting average wise.
Right.
But the problem is, which I'm starting as a Yankee fan, it hurts me to say this, you're getting offense from a position that doesn't always produce offense. And it's always been in the baseball world, you have to be a great defensive catcher first, right? And so to me, every outfield, like an average outfielder puts up 25 home runs in a year, 30 home runs in a year, right? Catchers do not do that. So to get that offensive output from the catcher position, I'm really on the fence here where you're batting under 250. His OBP is everything is not great. And I think that for the AL MVP, Judge and Raleigh, I'm so close. I'm so divided. What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Again, I'm a diehard Yankees fan. Love Aaron Judge. Got his jersey. Got all that stuff. Seeing a catcher do what he's doing, breaking Mickey Mantle's record as a switch hitter, most home runs ever, going out there every day and catching.
Kyle Schwarber should always be in the mix.
NL, getting down
NL.
behind the plate and doing all that. I actually went to the Mariners-Rays game. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. I went to the Mariners, and he hit a bomb out of there, and the MVP chants were going like crazy. They're both going to make the playoffs, because that's one of those things that you can utilize as a tiebreaker. Hey, who's got the better record? They're very similar. I lean a little bit toward Raleigh. Just seeing him do what he's doing as a catcher, because that's such an important defensive position. Having Judge have to be forced to DH quite a while. He's back in right field now, but he was stuck DHing for a while, coming back from the elbow. Oh, man, that is a tough call. I lean Raleigh just for doing some stuff that you've never seen from such.
Yeah, but do you feel like this is a situation kind of like the NFL where you have a Lamar Jackson who's clearly better, but they're going to give it to Josh Allen just because he hasn't had it yet kind of thing? You know what I mean? Is it kind of like one of those awards like, well, you're deserving, but we can't give it to Judge. Judge already has multiple MVPs, right? So, I mean, they're not trying to like just keep crowning the same dude. I think it looks better for the game.
I agree. That plays a little factor that, hey, but I think it's more that we've never seen anyone playing this position do the things he's doing.
And he's just as good lefty and righty too, which is usually switch hitters. They have more power from the left, not the right. Now, Certified Rob, our great producer,
right? There, obviously, really hard on Aaron Judge there. Just loving
Judge,
it.
Well, no, Judge is beating him in all categories.
Right. That's
yeah. So Judge is wiping him out in all those categories. Now, what you said, I think, is a good point, Buff. When you win it, if you ever win it once, it's harder to win it again. It's harder to win it again. Raleigh's that fun new name, and I don't know, but I have a feeling it's going to be a one-year wonder kind of thing. Next year, he'll be back to 28 to 30, right? Which
we've seen it before for sure.
Which it just could be one of those things. Who was that second baseman?
I think people are going to have it in their mind too of Judge missing those couple of weeks there, crucial weeks when the Yanks were fighting for first place. I know that's not his fault that he got injured. It's never your fault, but I think that will play into the minds of the voters. And again, I just think we've never seen a catcher do this. So when somebody does something that's so outlandish that we've never seen before, just like Ohtani going two-way, I thought Judge deserved it the year Ohtani got it from him. when he was on the Angels, just because of the
Yeah.
Angels record.
Yeah.
But I just think because he was the two-way player, you're seeing something that's never been done. And that I think that carries a lot of weight with voters.
Yeah, the switch hitter catcher kind of thing, and just putting up those
Yeah.
numbers, and then
Yep.
you start hearing the Mickey
Kind
Mantle
of very
comparisons.
special player. He's only 28. He's priming right now too. So I mean, you're catching him like in his best of the best year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he looks. He
And
looks
Judge
like
is
he's
going to have plenty
34.
more opportunities.
I just had to look it up because I suck at age games.
He looks like he's like 34, 35. But yeah, I mean,
Who's that,
I feel
Raleigh?
like
Yeah,
The
Cal
big-
Riley. He's only 28.
yeah, that's kind
Florida
of funny.
State boy, I believe.
FSU,
Yeah.
Jeff's all about that, man. Well,
Yeah.
that is going to be interesting to see how that goes down, man. Obviously, I think it's going to be just more of like a niche player position. It hasn't been seen or done before, so I think that's
Dustin,
why
are you an
Riley's going to
FSU
get
fan
it.
also?
No, I'm not a huge college football fan. Obviously, I watch it for gambling purposes, thing like that. But growing up in the Northeast, I mean, in Connecticut, I mean, we're college basketball all day, every day. We're the home of college basketball.
Exactly.
But college football was not a big deal. So I'm more of a pro guy for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're going to talk about this, but it's getting so much attention, the tush push again. We obviously know before the season started, they needed 24 votes to ban it. They had 22 votes, right? And I was on record saying, how can you ban something when one team is so good at it and other teams aren't? Like we've seen Josh Allen on the biggest stage, which I would think would be one of the best tush pushers, get stopped on fourth down, and they ended up not going to the Super Bowl because he got stopped on a tush push. But it is getting revisited again, and a lot of people now on ESPN are saying you're ruining the product on the field as far as viewership. I kind of don't know where I stand. I was saying that since your quarterback squats 600 pounds, why is that anyone else's fault? But I did a little further research, right? And the Packers don't do it as much. But last year they were 8 for 8.
Yeah.
So
I just think it looks Bush League. It doesn't look like football. Obviously, as a Giants fan, anything that helps the Eagles, I am against. But it's even if the Giants were incredible at it, it just, to me, it's kind of a Bush League-y type play. It just doesn't seem like that's what football's meant to be. It's like, looks more like a rugby play, those scrums they have. I don't know until it gets banned. They obviously keep doing it, but there's just something about shoving a guy across the line. Okay, so how can you shove guys forward? But I don't know if you remember back in the day. Obviously, I'm older. I've been watching football many years. I mean, it used to be before forward progress came into play. If you tackled somebody, if Lawrence Taylor hit a guy and he drug him back 2-3 yards, that ball got spotted 2-3 yards backwards. Okay.
Yeah. Now
the defender can't you get forward progress, but offense can kind of shove a guy forward. I think once you start shoving that guy forward, I don't think we're playing football anymore.
But the thing is with the Eagles, they call it the tush push, but a lot of times it's not the tush push. It's a quarterback sneak, right?
Right.
Jalen Hurts is powering through so
The sneak
hard.
is fine. Tom Brady was great at it. Can you find a less athletic quarterback? Brady, he was unreal.
I used to say teams should keep Tim Tebow as their number 2 for the playoffs,
right?
For situations like that, where at least you have to respect him as a thrower enough where you can't put all 11 guys in the box. What do you think, Buff?
All right, so I think a couple things. I think that the tush push is a play that people don't like if you're not an Eagles fan. Eagles fans fucking love it. They're like, yeah, they scream and they're all pushing and Jalen Hurts 600 squat. Like they get so excited. And I think it's so funny because I think it's kind of like it's just a little fad right now. Like I think it's time for it now. It most likely will get banned in the future. Enjoy it. And I really do enjoy watching Philly tush push the Chiefs. After they lost that Super Bowl to them, they've been 3-0 against them, right? And every time that they come and play the Chiefs, they love tush pushing it right down their throat. And the fact that they iced the game with the tush push, the Chiefs had their shot. They definitely could have beat that game. And I think it's just getting revisited and a little bit more popular right now because it's the golden boy, Pat Mahomes, who's losing again. He's 0-2, since, Andy Reid's second year with the team or something like that. They've been 0-2. So it's not a great start. It's not good. And it's just like a little added spotlight, embarrassing them, showing that they can't stop the tush push still, even with
I just
Chris
think
Jones
that
in this great line.
once they ban it, the Eagles are just going to do a quarterback sneak and not get stopped.
It doesn't matter, bro. Like it really doesn't. And then you want to talk about that. I know this is the little caveat you were talking about. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts right now, right? Like he's had a game against the Cowboys and a game against the Chiefs. He's got no touchdowns, no interceptions. You have A.J. Brown kind of irrelevant the first couple weeks. Devontae Smith not doing much. Saquon was held under 100 again, right? So, I mean, this is not a very – they're 2-0, and nobody's panicking. They're still a favorite. But this is just not the sexy-looking Eagles that people wanted to see. Their offense isn't great. Jalen Hurts isn't doing much. But they're 2-0, so it doesn't really matter to them. It's just more for the fantasy outlook, right?
Yeah, they don't care about us fantasy players. They just want to win ball games.
Yeah, they just want to win. It's kind of weird. Like, as far as fantasy goes, a lot of people take Jalen Hurts in the top 4 rounds, right? And
he's done nothing for your
Allen,
second, third overall pick.
Josh Allen has thrown more yards than Jalen Hurts in one quarter of that Ravens game than Jalen Hurts has thrown all season. We're only 2 games in.
That's insane, right? That's insane.
But I think Jalen Hurts is definitely a fantasy dud. Really quick, back to
those Russian touchdowns count just as much as throwing these beautiful, 60-yard bombs. And in fact, in a lot of leagues, you're getting 6 for a rushing touchdown versus 4 for a passing touchdown. So he's still producing, and there's going to be some games. Listen, their defense, they lost 5 starters on defense. I don't think their defense has been completely lights out. I mean, if CeeDee Lamb catches a couple balls, they lose that ball game. The Chiefs had them if old man Kelsey hangs onto that ball in the end zone.
If that ball wasn't tipped up the line.
I think they're going to get in some shootouts, and you're going to see Hurts air it out. I do think A.J. Brown is still nursing. My sources tell me he's still kind of nursing a knee a little bit, and that's why he's been more of a decoy out there. They're going to have some games where they got to throw. But right now, again, to your point, they get ahead, they don't have to worry about it. And if you look last year, they almost never trailed in the second half. They threw so much more. I think they threw 30% of the time through the ball in the second half of their games last year. And so that makes it tough.
That's definitely their game plan for sure.
That kills you in fantasy.
I agree.
This week they get the Rams, right? So it's going to be an NFC
ball game.
Championship rematch of last year. And this isn't going to, I don't think it's going to be a fantasy fest. I don't think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I think it's going to be a chess match, 100%.
Yeah. Rams look good. Rams are playing very good.
The line on that, right? The line is 44.5.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems pretty close to what I would think it would be, a low 20s kind of game.
Yeah, I totally see that. That's actually, when we get to it, that's one of my plays later. I don't know if we're getting into it now, but I really, really like the Rams getting the points. They're playing really good. They lead the NFL right now in yards per play differential, almost 2 yards more per play than their opponent. And
they're plus 160, getting 3.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
I think that number could get to 4. People are jumping on the home Eagles, just perception and reality.
PJ and I talked about it last year, man. The Eagles barely got by the Rams. Rams had them on the ropes. So I love this matchup for them to come in and give them problems.
Eagles were so dominant late, and the Rams were the one team that pushed them. The one last thing I want to talk about the tush push, which really kind of upsets me, is the refs don't call offsides on the Eagles offense, which is ridiculous, right?
No, isn't that crazy?
The center's head isn't supposed to be over the ball, and that's how they get, because they get underneath, and that's why the tush push or the quarterback sneak wasn't always effective, is because a D tackle can get lower than an offensive lineman just because the offensive lineman has to be behind the ball. So, you know what I mean? The center doesn't have that push. And they're admitting right now that the refs missed penalties on the Eagles. So it's not even like you have to ban the tush push. Just have
just call it right.
The refs just need to call it right. And it's crazy because if it's close, call it on the Eagles, right? If it's close, call it on the team that might be abusing a rule, right?
Yeah.
If you're literally offside, just call, they call it, it's not a false start. They're actually calling it offsides, even though offsides we're used to hearing as defensive terminology, but it's offsides on the offensive ball.
Well, they miss stuff all the time. Look at the Chiefs for years. That right tackle was starting, a split second going back in pass pro before the ball was snapped, and they miss those things. It's crazy.
Yeah. Before we start breaking down, like the games on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday, I wanted to talk to you guys about something really quick. I talked to my buddy yesterday. He's in a league where it's a Bitcoin per team, right? So it's the biggest buy-in that I've ever heard of. And they do this thing where you don't draft a quarterback, right? You draft the team as your quarterback. Because with so much money on the line, if you have Joe Burrow and God forbid he gets a turf toe, you at least have his backup for the rest of that game, right? And it eliminates someone, especially in the playoffs, losing a Bitcoin just because they, because the quarterback got hurt early. You at least have him as a backup. So if you wanted Lamar Jackson, you're not drafting Lamar Jackson. You're drafting the Baltimore
Ravens quarterback.
Right?
I've seen that done with kickers way back in the day. Now most of my leagues, thankfully, have eliminated the kicker. It used to be you have the Bengals kicker.
Welcome to 2025. Tyson is upset that we have a league that there's no Evan McPherson for him to choose. This is absolutely maddening to him. Yes, Tyson, a Bitcoin buy-in sounds like a league you want a part of, right?
Yeah.
Good Lord,
story,
man.
He comes into a restaurant a lot, and he's a great guy. But what do you guys think about the team quarterback thing? Do you like that? Not like it?
I mean, how many teams are in the league? I mean, if it's
12.
if the
12 men.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I think you need to draft better. I mean, unless you have like no benches or very few.
Yeah, but how do you draft better? The guy you played the guy, he got hurt.
You should have a backup. You should have a backup.
It's a 12-man league. There's a lot of guys.
12-man league. There's guys out on the wire.
No, you can't.
It's a gross. You might have to go get backup. Well, and how about enticing some trading? I mean, I think the best part of fantasy.
Okay, so you're saying in the middle of the game is what happens. The score will switch over and it'll accumulate Joe Burrow.
Who cares about the next week? Like that doesn't matter.
So Burrow goes down in the first quarter,
and you get Jake Browning stats accumulated along with Joe Burrow's for that game.
It's only for that game. That's how that. Not only, but that's why that rule matters. It's so if you're in the Super Bowl,
so you don't get snubbed with Burrow going, a couple, passes. At least you get Jake Browning coming in and throwing a couple touchdowns and interceptions.
It's interesting. I don't love it. If that was the way that the league was set up, you find a way to adapt, right? I'm in some leagues that like give a huge premium for tight ends who score. Tight ends. If it's one PPR, tight ends get like 1.5 or 1.75 even. I've seen leagues that are given 0.2 yards per carry. So if you have 5 carries, you get a point. So
don't you feel that whenever you see a rule like this, TJ, that it's more because there was a situation that happened previously in that particular league? It's just like a re-implementation of something to prevent. It's like a mitigation strategy.
Well,
just like, okay, somebody, it's a lot of money. It's a Bitcoin. Somebody's quarterback got hurt. They lost because their QB was out.
Somebody got butthurt.
They're upset about it. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? But I mean,
it's nothing to do about drafting better. You're trying to eliminate variance, right?
Sure.
It's just like when you play No Limit Hold'em and you're playing a cash game and there's 50 grand in the pot. You run it twice, right? People run it twice because you're trying to eliminate unfortunate bad luck. Yeah, the next game you just put your backup quarterback in. No big deal.
I got Christian McCaffrey, right? Probably the most injury-prone guy out there. Probably one of the most polarizing players in fantasy, right? If we all knew he was going to be healthy for the whole 17 games, he's the 101. I'm sorry, he's the 101 in fantasy.
Agreed,
but do I get the whole 49ers backfield?
No, but I disagree with you there because you're playing 2 running backs, and in big money leagues, there's 2 running backs and 2 flexes. So losing 1 running back doesn't affect you because you have realistically another running back on an RB2, and then you have 2 flexes that can actually get you points to make up for that. As a quarterback, you only
get
have
one position, no
spot.
super flex.
Yeah, but your flexes can make up for your quarterback. I mean, if my guy, I know it's not as easy.
You're just eliminating. It's not about
variant.
You're eliminating bullshit, right? You want to eliminate bullshit.
I don't love it, but if it's what's going on in the league and they're playing for that big of money, that's in another world that I am in. It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Fair enough. All right, what do you guys want to talk about next?
All right. Well, we did have, of course, Tom Brady sighting. There's been a little bit of a rhetoric about him wearing this headset during the games. People are I guess, asking or wondering why he's wearing the headset. Is he in constant communication? The league has come out and said there's no rules that have been broken. Obviously, you and I talked about it, and it just seems like Tom Brady's just getting the game plan. He wants to hear exactly what's going on so he can recap with them afterwards, right?
Now, I watched this, and I was watching this game because it was just the only game on, right? And I didn't see his mouth move once when he had the headset on. So that to me shows that he at least respects the hierarchy. And I don't think he's stepping on Pete Carroll's shoes, but I think that this could be a thing where Pete Carroll asked him, hey, I want you to hear. I want you to listen. If you think that we could add something, let us know. It's the first time I've ever seen an owner wear a headset. And people are up in arms about it.
They should. They don't. Jerry Jones takes it off before the camera shot, but Jerry's actually calling plays. If you didn't know, for the Cowboys, he's the fucking head coach.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Unbeknownst to the league. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, exactly right. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. But what do you think about that, Dustin? You think that's
It's interesting. I think it's conflict of interest. I really do.
Really?
Yeah. Well. How do we know how deep it runs? Okay, let's say Tom Brady, the previous week, right?
But you're an owner. You're allowed to listen to the team's.
Well, he
chatter,
works for
right?
Fox Sports.
Then stop announcing. Don't be in those meetings where he's getting inside information from other teams prior to games. When those guys cover a game, let's say Brady and I forget his, who the play-by-play guy is with Brady. Let's say they go and they play against whoever, and they're in inside information. Oh, we want to do this, and we want to get so-and-so more involved, blah, blah, blah. What's to stop Brady from going back to the Raiders and going, hey, Pete, I just got done talking to the Bengals, and they want to really use this Andre Yoshivas guy down by the goal line, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like it's
Spygate all over again, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if it goes that deep, but, pick one. You want to be an owner, you should not be announcing games if you want to get that involved.
I think that's the big thing, right? He works for Fox, and I think they asked Ben Johnson, would you have a problem? And Ben Johnson said no. Something along the lines of, I think that Brady is smart enough to not, right? But how far does that go? If you're going to be an owner and you're going to be part of it, stop working for Fox, right?
Right. Exactly.
And I think he's like a 5% owner or less, so it's a minority owner, which is fine. Nobody had a problem with that. But now you got
those guys get so much inside info that you and I don't hear in those meetings prior to games. When they're covering a big Chiefs and somebody else game, they're talking to Mahomes, talking to Reed. They're at the practices. They're really in depth, so that way they can do their job as announcers.
Absolutely, Tyson.
You get that information. I don't know. It's interesting. Yep. And now maybe this may hurt him as an announcer, because now if I'm the head coach and Brady's coming to my meetings and wants to get some inside info or get some tidbits before he's broadcasting my game, I'm not telling him anything. In fact, I might tell him the opposite of what I'm about to do.
No, yeah, for sure. You guys want to start breaking down the games? I mean, Dolphins, Bills, this is one of my lead pipe locks.
Let's do it,
so let's talk about Tua, right? And what you like in this game.
This is going to be the first lead pipe block. We're going to release it on a short soon after the show. But I love Tua over 1.5 throwing touchdowns. The reason why I love it is, one, you're getting it at plus 125. Some books up to plus 140, right? In Florida, you're only betting Hard Rock, but for other states, at plus 140. DraftKings like at plus 135. Hard Rock obviously gives you the worst lines at plus 125. But I could see it's good weather. The Dolphins offense, Tua's and McDaniel's job is on the line again, and they don't have to win this game, but they have to be respectable. And if Tua plays the whole game and the Bills offense, I could see Josh Allen coming out and just moving the ball at will against his defense. This is going to be a high-scoring game, and I could see Tua getting a touchdown early and at least maybe 2, maybe 3 touchdowns as the game goes on, especially if it goes into garbage time, because we all know Tua loves the garbage time touchdowns, right? So I think it might be pretty close, but I think the Dolphins will be playing from behind a lot of pressure on them. They're going to have to score. Good weather. What do you guys think about that?
I like the weather thing. He's not playing him in December. It's going to be 70 degrees. I'm looking at it now, 70 degrees, light winds. Going to be a perfect day.
This what happened last year, though, right? Like same scenario. He went into Buffalo, same type of weather.
I'd have to look at it to see exactly what weather they played in last year.
I
I
just
know that
remember it was early in the year.
yeah, in the two games that they did play against Buffalo, he got it one game. He threw 2 touchdowns. The other game, he threw 1 touchdown. I like the fact that it's plus money. If you had to tell me, you told me it was a coin flip, or you told me this was minus 130 or minus 140, minus 150, absolutely not. I'm staying the heck away from it. Thursday games historically are more low scoring. That's why we always joke about the NFL. They care about people's health, but then they got them bouncing back in 3 days or 4 days to come play. They usually come out sluggish and sloppy. I do like the opportunity to get garbage time points. I think Buffalo could be up big, and you've always got the opportunity for garbage time stuff. I think the fact that it's plus money, I'm down, TJ. I like it. I'll tell you. I think because you're getting plus money makes it a huge deal for me.
Yeah, like it's always funny because sports books dangle that carrot when it's 1.5, right? And with Josh Allen, I don't love it because you're minus 140, but also what could Josh Allen do? He could run it in the end zone 2 or 3 times. This has to be throwing touchdowns, right? He has to throw it in. We all know there's a very good chance Tua will not be running in for a touchdown. We all agree on that. Right?
No.
So it's kind of interesting also because, like you said, Dustin, they're at plus 11.5. If we want to start talking about, the Bills coming out, maybe not super motivated, right? I know they're at home, but this could be a look ahead game. And it could be something where, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Dolphins getting 11.5?
Yeah. Pretty good stat I uncovered. I try to look at the lines when they come out on Tuesday mornings, kind of just get my first feelings, and see what I think. And then I start digging a little deeper and looking at stuff. And the stat that I uncovered I think is pretty significant. Teams that start 0-2, not against the spread, just 0-2 in general.
Okay.
In week 3, if they're still an underdog, which probably going to be an underdog, you're 0-2, right? The public's against you. Nobody's believing in you. They are 48-27 against the spread since 2012. So that's 21 games over 500. It's like a 65% clip, somewhere in that neighborhood. So I don't love tonight's game. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I got some games that we'll get to in a moment that I really like and I think are great plays. Gun to my head, though, I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm taking all those points, specifically because I think in worst case scenario, the back door is always going to be open.
Yeah.
I could totally see the Bills getting up 17, chilling, late garbage time touchdown. And there you go, TJ. We hit them both. We get a late garbage time TD to Waddle and Tyreek, and bam, we hit the over 1.5, and bam, we cover the 11.5.
I will say this as a caveat: Waddle is questionable. I think he's going to play though, from what I'm hearing.
Malik Washington.
I will say, would you say, Buff?
Malik Washington. He could be heavily targeted if it's not going to be Waddle, right?
Yeah. If Waddle isn't there, I still love the Tua over 1.5. What's going on with Waller? Is he coming back, or is he just
Waller's not playing? He's already been ruled out.
What's going on with him though? Like,
guy needed money.
He's old.
He came back because he needed some money. I guarantee you. I mean, it's Kenny Golladay 2.0. It's just at the tight end position.
Yeah, he just needs to get paid.
Yeah, he just needed some money. In my opinion, I mean, the guy's always banged up. He burned the Giants big time, and
if you're
counting on him for fantasy, it's.
Buff, any fantasy darlings in this Thursday night game? I mean, I know we don't use fantasy darling and Thursday night game in the same sentence, but I do think it is earlier in the season. So this Thursday game, they both played 1:00 games, right?
Yeah, it'll be fresh somewhat.
I could see them not being so fatigued.
I think James Cook goes off again, bro. He's just had like this fantastic start in the Dolphins. I mean, I guess week 1 they kind of held Jonathan Taylor in a little check. I just see the running game going berserk. I don't see Josh Allen having to really air this out too much. I think it's just going to be pound him into the ground until you impose your will. And like you said, I can see the Dolphins making a late run. On the Dolphins side, I don't know how much I love the receiver. I really love A-Chain this game, though. I think A-Chain's going to get a ton of work. And I think he's
Achane's
just
so solid because he just has that floor of
he's
catching
just going to
5 or 6
be
passes.
amazing this game. I think it's going to be a battle between Achane and Cook just to see who has most fantasy relevance, you know?
And Achane's always been known as that speedster, but have you noticed the 2 touchdowns he scored this year so far? I know
He's gone right up the middle or like
he
hit
had
some
to
contact.
run over a guy to get there. The Colts
Yeah.
touchdown, Tua just left him up to dry. Like he had to Achane had to catch a wheel route and literally run over 4 guys.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. He's great.
On a 4th and goal, but Achane actually has shown not only his speed, which we've always known about since that Denver Bronco game last year, right? But or was that 2 years ago, whatever that was. I think it was 2 years ago.
The Bill side is just really tough because they're one of those annoying teams, sort of like a Green Bay. You have no idea what receiver is going to do at this game, right? Game 1, it was Keon Coleman. Second game, you get a Mac Hollins touchdown and some other randoms. Elijah Moore gets a reverse in. Like, you're never going to know. I think everybody's searching.
It's got to be a Khalil Shakir.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's Shakir this game.
We're connected to Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the NFL. And it's like, but like none of those weapons really, do you have a ton of confidence playing any of them? Because they spread the ball around, you know?
But as a Bills fan, talking to Bills fans, they said like Josh Allen is one of those, he's just a good guy. And this is a perfect setup for him. That's why they got rid of Diggs, right? Because they felt that Josh Allen sometimes just wanted them to keep Diggs happy, right? But this is kind
great
of
for the NFL, great for the team.
Yeah, this is a big thing. Yeah, not great for fantasy owners when it comes to receivers, but this is how the Bills want it, right? Yep. They want Josh Allen to throw to 8 different guys, have 8 guys catching balls, and not the pressure of Josh Allen feeling like, oh, I got to
feed this guy.
Healthy, right?
Yeah. Yep. Because if Diggs wasn't getting his targets, he was letting them know on the sideline. You can't have, your franchise quarterback getting cussed out by a receiver. That's just
all right. Let's talk about a couple things here. So we wanted to cover Baker Mayfield and the trajectory that he's going on right now with Tampa.
Yeah.
So they come out and get another sneaky win. They're 2-0, right? This is like the 4th time under Todd Bowles or something. They've been 2-0 starting out the season. Baker Mayfield obviously was left for dead, went from Cleveland to Carolina, right? And he had a couple good years in Cleveland. Obviously, his shoulder got hurt. Carolina, he did nothing. They thought he was cooked, sent him to LA, and then he just has this late resurgence. Tampa catches fire, right? They catch lightning in a bottle. Tom retires. They bring in Baker, and everything just clicks. 2023, he throws for 4,000 yards. 2024, he throws for 4,500 yards. This year, he's already off 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Last 2 seasons, he had 41 touchdowns and 28 touchdowns. Do you think he eclipses 41 touchdowns this year? He's already at 5. I mean, it's close, right?
Yeah, I think that he's going to have, like we've been saying this for 2 years now, and I'm going to say, he's going to be a 4,000 to 5,000 yard guy, and he's going to be a 40 touchdown guy, and he's literally was the Band-Aid quarterback to help them after Brady retired. And now they literally got themselves, I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback by the time his career's done.
Does he need a ring though to get the jacket? You know what I mean? Like, or is the numbers game going to be enough for him because it's pretty gaudy?
I think that if Baker Mayfield is at the helm, they're going to be
free Trask.
They're going to be in the way they've built that roster and that young receiving core. That because Mike Evans is kind of on his way out, right? But now they're getting all these new guys in. They have a young running game, a great offensive line. Baker Mayfield will make the playoffs the next 5 years. Let's just say that, right? And it's a Tom Brady game, right? You make the playoffs every year. They had the Commanders on the ropes last year. I could see this year an NFC Championship game is easily in reach. And, I don't see them. I could see them winning one of those games if it's the Packers or the Eagles. But
I think it'd be a fun game, a battle of the Bays, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, NFC Championship. That could be a good one.
I mean, the Eagles are the hard. I mean, Eagles, I feel like are always going to be there. Yeah, but it's going to be one of those.
Sure, but either one of those teams got to get through them.
Yeah, the NFC's wide open, and he plays in a division that typically doesn't have rock star teams. I mean, he's in there with the Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints. So every year they're going to be a threat to win the division. And he made a great career move. He went to a place that had an opening where he had to battle against Kyle Trask. I mean, obviously he won that battle fairly easy, despite our buddy Tyson here.
Sorry, Tyson.
And he's on a good trajectory. What I like is it's just a good story, right? It's you kind of got thrown out as garbage by the Browns. Oh my God, what would they do to have him back right now?
Yeah.
But you're a product of your environment, right? I'm sure we've all worked at jobs outside of, what we're doing now that you didn't feel utilized, or you had bad management, or you had bad surroundings around you. Kind of hard to thrive in those situations, right?
Yep.
You get into a situation just like Tom Brady. Why Tom Brady picked the Bucks? I got Mike Evans, I got Godwin, I got Bruce Arians. I've got a great offensive thing. I don't have to play in bad weather. Almost all my games are going to be against NFC South teams. Great weather.
No state tax.
Yeah, no state income tax. That helps. I'd pump the brakes a little on the Hall of Fame stuff. I think we're a little quick. I'm old school. I think there's a Hall of Fame, and then there's a lot of Hall of very good players that are getting into the Hall of Fame. But he certainly has a chance if he stays.
He's only 30 years old. He's
got time. But I do think you need to get an MVP. You need to get into a Super Bowl. You need to maybe win a Super Bowl. There's plenty of guys in there that haven't won Super Bowls, but he's got a chance. Yeah, let's put it that way.
If Baker puts up the numbers this year like he did last year, I think he'll definitely be an MVP candidate that people are going to talk about, because now Josh has one. Lamar has plenty. Burrow's out. You know what I mean?
He's going to get
like a Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield kind of MVP feel is what it's looking like early on, at least through 2 weeks.
I think he's going to be a 50,000-yard quarterback by the end of his career. All he has to do is hit 4,000 or 5,000 for the next 6 years.
That means he's in the Hall of Fame.
What else was I going to say?
I had an interesting stat. You ready to hear this? So we were talking about the Bengals earlier, and I was really thinking about Joe Burrow and how he's been injured. And I heard this stat, and I had to look it up. It blew my mind. You realize that Joe Burrow has no offensive line. He's been sacked a lot. But did you know that Andrew Luck obviously had to retire early? He was sacked 174 times. And he had the spleen, and the guy was getting hit, right?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's been hurt all this time. We wonder, guess how many times Joe Burrow's been sacked? Just in comparison to Andrew Luck.
No clue.
201 times.
Wow.
And he's still playing. Yeah. That's unbelievable. Andrew Luck was forced to retire. Joe Burrow, again, pressure comes in, turf toe goes down. It's like the same thing every year. TJ, you were saying this guy is ultra talented, and you don't know if he's really putting in the work or whatnot. He's just always been good.
If he's a workhorse.
You question the ethic. I was talking to Larger about it. He's like our Bengals source. He thinks he's just too smart for his own good. And knowing that whenever you see the setup and the routes and you got your guys out there, he knows that the 7-yard curl route's going to be open. So he's just going to hit that. You got Jake Browning who's in there. Larger likes Jake Browning because he's going to make sure he gets the ball to Higgins, Chase, Brown. And regardless of what's going on, he doesn't have to know the setup like Joe Burrow does is intimately. He's just more going to go out there, get the ball to his playmakers and let them make plays, right? So that's where Larger's coming from, saying that it's not going to be the worst changeover from Burrow to Browning, but it just kind of puts it in perspective about how many hits that Joe Burrow
but have
really
you noticed Tom Brady never had a bad offensive line? Do you think it's because the offensive line was that good? Because I can tell you it wasn't amazing. We saw the Giants run through that offensive line twice. It's because it's Brady, and Brady
getting rid of the ball under
Joe
a second.
Burrow holds on to the ball. He has way too much faith in because he's a great athlete, an amazing athlete. And I don't think he puts in the work where he gets rid of the ball quick enough. So, I'm not going to say that the Bengals offensive line is good, but I think sacks are sometimes more on the quarterback. I'd love to get an NFL quarterback on the show one day and really talk to them about, is it the offensive line or is it the quarterback? Because I really think that it's a lot of times the quarterback.
Tyson says, can we get Winston to the Bengals?
A lot of people say
that'd be a fantasy dream right there.
He would throw 75 touchdowns and 54 interceptions.
Hey, give the New York Giants a second-round pick. We'll gladly hand them over.
Yeah.
Did you see that video?
What's the point?
Did you see the video of Jameis and Jackson Dart during the Cowboys game?
No, I didn't.
So there's this game. Obviously, Wilson drops it into Neighbors over the top. Everyone's going nuts. There's 50 seconds left, yada, yada. Jameson Williams is on the sideline. And Jackson Dart is feeding Jameson a W. And Jameson is eating Jackson Dart's W. Yeah. Eating his hand, obviously. And then you see what happens after that with Aubrey, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, not a great look.
Obviously not a great look, but it's just funny enough. Jameson Williams still making headlines, eating W's. What are we doing here?
Yeah, what are the Giants doing with him? Why wouldn't you take a 5th round pick, 6th round pick, anything, If he's just going to be sitting
I
there,
thought
I mean,
it
he's
was
great to
crab
have.
legs.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. Yeah. You know what's the one last thing I want to say about Baker? Do you guys remember that it was like a video or a picture where it was Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold as backups in Carolina?
Yeah.
And they're like holding the helmet, and you're just kind of like looking at those two guys. And like, I mean, I looked at that. I'm like, those are two guys with great ability, and they're going to be sailing into the sunset as backup quarterbacks for the rest of their life. Right? That's it.
Right.
Their careers are done. And they were both in their 20s at that time. And now look at them.
What would Carolina give now to have one of those guys as their quarterback?
I know, right?
But do you think that this is a product because we put so much pressure on these rookies to perform and to come out and to be so great, and then you're not letting anybody develop? You're not giving anybody a good schedule because you're coming out on a shit team who usually has deficiencies on an O-line or a defensive line or weapons. And so you're switching out coordinators every year. You're switching out head coaches every year.
Yep.
Poor Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield are the class of throwaway quarterbacks who have reinvented themselves. They never wrote back. They wrote them off kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, these are guys that, like you said, all have had ability. All have been looked on. They all move on. Is it because the NFL is just too worried about winning right now and not letting people develop? Or is it just bad personnel choices?
You're a product of your environment, like I said earlier with the whole Baker thing. But you're 100% right. I mean, these coaches are not given a long leash. These GMs are not given a long leash that they were before. I mean, you draft somebody in the first round, I mean, you're playing them, right? It's very rare that you can sit out and do the Mahomes route or the Jordan Love route.
Thing, right? Those are like the last two guys that we watched, like sit and wait and come out that are good.
Look at Anthony Richardson. I thought, I mean, that kid is oozing talent, but they're just Shane Steichen knows his job is on the line. The GM knows his job is on the line. They're going to go with the safe Daniel Jones, which is obviously not going to allow Richardson time to grow. Probably needed, a year and a half, 2 years. He's just not going to get it in Indianapolis.
Should have stayed in college. Should have stayed in college,
Yeah, probably end of the day. And I think you're seeing a lot more of that. These older guys, Bo Nix, right? Tons and tons of career starts. Everybody call him an old man, but guess what? He's got a lot of starts under his belt. He walked right into the NFL looking pretty sharp. Mitchell Trubisky, top pick. Didn't have that many starts.
Don't get Tyson on Trubisky.
Anthony Richardson, not that many career starts, and they're not getting enough reps, and they're not given the time to develop. I can't say definitively Anthony Richardson wouldn't be a good QB, but he's not going to be allowed that time to grow and to learn on the fly on the job because these guys don't want to get fired. They've got to win.
Do you think Trubisky has a resurgence anywhere later on in his career? Just throwing him out off the cuff and seeing these other guys. You think he gets a job?
No.
Second chance?
No, I mean he's just a career backup. I mean he's fine, but he never really got that second shot. Like Baker Mayfield did. So I think a lot of it is choosing to go to the right places. Look at Daniel Jones. I mean, great choice to ask to be released, right? I mean, he may not end up in Indy and end up in a great scenario. So it's interesting.
Also, people forget, the Peyton Mannings and the Troy Aikmans. They're
terrible rookie years.
And Aikman brought up a very interesting thing on the opening week when he was doing the Minnesota Vikings game. He goes, one of the worst feelings is when you throw a pick six and McCarthy do that pick six and has to go back to the sidelines and you have veteran offensive linemen kind of looking at you. They're like, and Aikman goes, I've had that feeling, and it's a real just weird feeling. He goes, that they got your back, but they're like, oh man, am I throwing my careers away in my prime as an offensive lineman with this young quarterback? It was a very interesting perspective hearing Aikman because you could see how much it dug at Aikman to he remembers that. He remembers. I remember Aikman. I was so young, but watching the videos, he was getting rocked as a young quarterback.
Terrible. Peyton Manning.
Probably because he wasn't getting rid of the ball quick enough, right? But it was just I could tell it's etched in his memory of those offensive linemen looking at him like, man, is he the guy that could take us to not even to Super Bowl, but to wins? It was a real interesting, deep perspective that I thought Aikman, it was one of the best things I've ever heard him say as a commentator.
Let's look at the Giants, right? They're going to be at a crossroads in a few weeks, okay? We got Kansas City coming in 0-2. Let's be honest. That's not looking good. Kansas City is not going to be in a good mood when they go to play the Giants.
Nope.
So we go 0-3. Let's say they're 0-4, 0-5. The best thing for Jackson Dart's future might be to sit out the whole year.
Yeah.
But because we're not at practice, we can't say definitively he's ready or he's not ready.
Yeah.
But Dable and Shane don't want to lose their jobs. So if they're 0-5 or 1-5 or 1-6,
you don't let out your spade
believe,
yet, right? You want to hang on to that and be like, next year we unleash the beast.
Yeah, but they're going to play him because they're going to have to show that they made the right choice, that this kid has a future to keep their jobs. And that might not be the best thing for Jackson Dart's career, but they've got to do it to save their jobs. So these teams walk those fine lines of developing, but then also don't want to lose your job.
It's tricky. On that note, really quick, though, it was nice that at least Russell Wilson threw for 450, right?
Yeah.
So we know it's not a complete waste of time. Let's just start going into these games.
Yeah, you want to go game by game, kind of quick?
I'm gonna start ripping them off, and we all give a quick. You got the Bengals at Minnesota Vikings. Vikings lose McCarthy. Vikings lose Aaron Jones.
Bengals go 3-0.
The backup
Minnesota. Minnesota is -2.5, and the over/under is 41.5 in Minnesota. Bengals at Minnesota. Buff, what do you think?
I like the Bengals on this. Plus money, 135. I definitely think that Jake Browning is the more experienced quarterback stepping on the field. He's got weapons. Now, obviously, they got no defense, and their offensive line is questionable. I can see a lot of checkdowns to Chase Brown, but I don't see the Vikings, going down
Carson Wentz
and blowing them out by any means. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a last possession game, and it's going to be Jake Browning for the win.
I think Minnesota upgrades at quarterback. Dustin, what do you think?
Carson Wentz has got plenty. He's going to be able to run the offense. We all know Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer. Look what he did with Sam Darnold. I think it's going to be a good game. It's not on my playlist. It's not one of my top plays that I'm going to break down later. I'll tell you some of my best bets later. But just a real quick synopsis. Why not take the points? Again, gun to my head, I'd probably take the points. I don't know. It's because I can't tell you what's going to happen with Wentz, but he's got weapons. And, the guy was the MVP of the league, everybody's MVP until he got hurt that 1 year in Philly. So it's the backup QB bowl. I'm going to stay away from it. But if I had to, I'd take the points.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that this could be a little bit of a shootout. And I think that since it's both backup quarterbacks, they have it at 41.5. But I could see Browning and Wentz actually moving the ball because there's so many weapons on the field.
The guy you want to play – the guy you want to play is Jordan Mason. That Bengals defense is terrible. Right. I think Jordan Mason, I've always been a fan of his, even when he was stuck behind McCaffrey. His number 78.5. That's a high number. I'm not going to mess with that. But for fantasy, Jordan Mason, I think, is the guy. I could see him. Vikings are going to play it close to the vest.
He'll be cheap.
Jordan Mason.
Very cheap on DraftKings. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jordan Mason, we've been talking about Mason for 2 months now. And Buff, what did we say? That we think that he's going to be the starting running back by week 4 to week 6. And it's not because Aaron Jones gets hurt. It's because he just takes the job. Now,
I feel better about my decision taking Ramondre over Mason at that point in time, just because that backfield New England looks good. But yeah, Mason has been the guy that was a super valuable pick. We want to talk about that, by the way. That was kind of, as we go through these games, give me a real quick take on who your fantasy stud and duds are through the first 2 weeks. Give me one name each. One guy who's overperforming that you didn't see coming, one guy who is underperforming that you didn't see coming.
Well, I think you got to think of Becca Ibuka. 4 touchdowns through 2 games. That's pretty solid, especially from a rookie. You never know what you're going to get out of a rookie usage-wise or whatever, but he's clearly become one of Baker's favorite guys. So he's got to be up there for sure. I think as far as duds, I still think he's going to be good, but Ashton Genty, another rookie, he was getting picked top.
We talked about that.
End of the first round, early second round. Amarian Hampton was getting picked third round. Early in the season, he was getting picked in the 4th, but he slid up to the 3rd when Najee had the eye injury. Those two have not done a thing. I think you got to be patient with them. But as far as through 2 games, those guys are definitely
disappointing
not
with the
looking
return
like
on draft value.
Good picks.
Absolutely. TJ, what do you got?
No, yeah, I was gonna say Jalen Hurts is the fantasy dud. He's been okay rushing, but the way he has not gotten people involved, like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Goddard, I think he's just really, as a fan, they're winning, right? But you're not feeling great if you have any bit of that Eagles offense, except for Saquon Barkley, right? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, both drafted pretty high, right? top 6 rounds, I want to say. A.J. Brown,
Absolutely.
obviously a lot earlier than Devontae Smith. And then also Omarion Hampton, right? He looks slow. It looks like Najee almost is the running back there. Like Najee looks like he has a little more pep in his step. And as
He
far
got
as
stuffed on some goal line carries. Did not look good. I was really hoping he was going to be better than what he's showing for sure with Omarion.
and then as also Evan Ingram, what a disappointment. I know he's been kind of hurt, but
That's
I thought
tough.
he was going to be like the Jimmy Graham of that offense. Now it's so easy to pick duds, right? It's week 2. I mean, it's overreaction, all that stuff. But sticking on that.
And how about Jonathan Taylor? Jonathan Taylor looks like, he was getting picked late 2nd round. I saw him even going 3rd rounds. He's looking like he's back to the form when he was the fantasy running back 1 a couple years
you got
ago.
Anthony Richardson not poaching his touchdowns, not poaching his yards. It's his backfield, kind of fun there. And then on that note, with that team, Tyler Warren, I think, has been a great surprise. He's averaging 80 yards a game almost. He's getting the targets. He's the number 1 target guy on that team.
If anybody were to go out and trade for him early, very savvy, sharp move. Let me tell you, that's a very sharp move to go and get him early. My pick
good there, right? But yeah, Tyler Warren, he's 6'5", 240 pounds, built like a brick shit house. He's got great hands. Daniel Jones loves him, and I could see he's almost on that trajectory of having a Brock Bowers kind of rookie tight end season, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Buff?
Yeah, I got Andrew Luck. Or I'm sorry, not Andrew Luck. I had him just written down. I got Daniel Jones right there. I had it as my surprise pick. Nobody saw it coming. He just beat a legit.
How many lineups is he in, though? That's the problem. He hasn't been in anybody's lineups. Now you're going to throw him in there, and he's going to disappoint probably. But, he's been unbelievable.
He's been unreal. The guy is showing his experience right now. You got to love they play in a dome. He's got Jonathan Taylor. He's got deep threat with Downs. He's got Pittman. He's got this tight end. And I think I'm telling you, this is going to be the year Daniel Jones breaks out for a 55-yard run and doesn't eat the turf monster and fall on his face in front of the open field. This is the year. He's going to do it. Daniel Jones, fantasy darling. I would say for my disappointment, actually, I had 2 more fantasy studs. I love Javonte Williams this year, too. Nobody was really giving him a lot of run. He's been balling. He's a top 5 running back, and he's getting all kinds of work, and he's run on some good defenses. You know what I mean? He had a decent game against the Giants.
Got some juice, too.
He's still looking good. He's definitely our lead back, man. I was definitely putting those guys in for my studs. What do you think about Quentin Johnston also as a stud that's completely – all of a sudden he goes out for another bomb, right? Like these are just guys – it's only 2 weeks, but he's clearly involved in that offense. Ladd McConkey being drafted way higher. I mean, way more work Quentin Johnston's getting. He's got 3 tutties already. I mean, these are just some guys. Disappointment. You took it right out of my mouth. I thought Ashton Genty, and TJ was saying he looked good and whatnot. But he just has been meddling the Raiders offense in game 1. Geno aired it out. Everybody was saying that the savior for Genty, he's going to get all these catches. He hasn't been involved in the passing game as much as you want to see. He looks like he runs hard.
Yeah.
Just does he have the space? You know what I mean? Is he going to have the line?
Product of the environment. I don't know if
people,
you saw that.
People were taking Ashton Genty number 1 overall as the future. Now, I'm not saying that he could not be the number 1 RB next year or the year after. He's clearly going to be in the mix. But to take him for the rookie pick, number 1 overall or in the top, I think it is a very ballsy. I chose Jonathan Taylor over Genty, or I would have. I didn't even have the chance. I was going JT over Genty. I talked to TJ and TJ and other buddies about this at length. I trust the situation, the volume, and the scenario much more than what I've seen out of that Raiders backfield for sure.
Yeah, it's just that shiny new toy, right? We all want those rookies that are going to be elite neighbors. Or
don't you think that we just have so much more like access in camp too? We're all watching Genty run the hill. We're all watching Genty do these moves and run through. Like we get so much uninhibited access where we could just watch the training, the facilities, the workouts, the weights, and you just become enamored and fall in love with these players. Yep. And then you just know that maybe they're not schemed right away. And there's a lot of rookies that we're seeing that are being drafted high, just not being schemed in yet. And it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, and historically, being a running back drafted in the top 10 usually produces a top 10 running back fantasy season as well. But he's just off to a slow start. The offensive line, Chargers defense obviously was tough. Patriots defense, surprised he didn't have a good game in that first week.
Everybody
I'm going to give him time. I'm not going to bail on him.
Yeah, Gino threw for 360, so it was just one of those games where. But
no Christian Gonzalez.
Gino aired it out.
Yeah.
Because there was no what is it, Christian Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
Or is that his name? There's their CB Pro Bowler. All right, so we'll continue breaking down games. So we already went Dolphins, Bills. You got Cowboys at the Bears.
Actually, one of my plays. If I jump in here, this is one of my plays. Bears started on Tuesday morning. It was Bears favored by 1.5. It's now, last I looked, the Bears were getting a point.
I think a point and a half. I got the line at 50.5.
Yeah, you're going to hate this, all right, Buff, but I just think the Bears' backs the entire season is against the wall. I'm going to lean into that number that I gave earlier, that 48-27 against the spread when you're 0-2 and you're getting points. They're at home. Dak played great at Philly, absolutely. Historically, though, he's not as good of a player on the road outside of that turf. I'm going to take the Bears there. I like that. I think the Cowboys' defense has not been great. You let Russell Wilson throw for 450. Let's be honest here, okay? Yeah, we can all praise Russell Wilson. There were some wide open receivers. He made some good throws.
They're missing Parsons. They're missing Parsons for sure.
Big time. And I just think this, if the Bears don't win now, when are they winning, right? When are they? Is there another game that they're going to be more up for than this? Starting 0-3, that's a death sentence for playoff race, right? I think their backs are against the wall. I think they play well. I think they can win this ball game. I like the Bears.
TJ
Tyson's lead pipe block over 100 on the. No, yeah, that could definitely be an offensive game too. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, that's the 4:00 games, right? We'll jump back to 1:00. But yeah, I could see the Bears home. I don't see Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and those guys. There's too much talent on that offense to lose at home. Now, Dallas, I'm on record saying I really like Dallas this year. I think they could easily be 2-0. They had the Eagles on the ropes.
No doubt.
I just don't think Dallas, you can never count them out. And now that their run game's getting going. But yeah, I could see Ben Johnson cooking up some stuff. And I could see Odunze, DJ Moore, even though Tyson brought to my attention, I rewatched the game. DJ Moore don't look right. He don't look happy. It's like his body language is a little weird. But
watch for him getting traded by the trade deadline. I could completely see that if they're way under 500. He's not happy there. He'll have value in the trade market. And then that opens the door for Luther Burden to get on the field and some of their other weapons.
But the Bears at home, I like that play. All
right, we'll go back to the 1:00 game. Obviously, my phone prioritizes the Cowboys as a 4:00 game. Bengals and Vikings, right? We talked about that one.
Yeah.
We like I like the Bengals in that one. You guys like Carson Wentz a little bit. You could see it being a little bit back and forth, right?
Yeah, we don't love that game, but I can see it actually. I think the over-under would be like 48, 47, 48 if both starting quarterbacks were there. I think both backups are better than both. I don't think Browning is better than Burrow, but I do think Browning right now, like we've seen him have huge games last year.
Yeah, he's been in that offense long enough.
He knows that offense with Chase Brown, with T. Higgins, with Jamar Chase, not in that order, obviously. A lot of guys to throw to. I could see Justin Jefferson having a big game. I'm actually liking that over a lot, but I don't know if it's like a lot, but I like it. But I'm all right. Let's go to Steelers Patriots. Pittsburgh's at New England. Pittsburgh's -1.5. Over-under is 44.5. I don't know how anybody could love this game, but we're gonna try.
I don't know what to make of this game.
I leave Patriots, but this is an ugly one. Steelers.
Rolly 619. Thank you for listening. I know I haven't seen your name on there yet.
How bad is that Steelers?
Please. We really appreciate you guys listening to us. Really passionate about this weekend. We're really passionate about doing Thursday shows now. And thank you so much for listening, guys. All right, guys, what do you think? Steelers at New England. Aaron Rodgers versus Drake May. Pittsburgh is on the road. Favorite 1.5.
New England getting plus money. I'll take the home dog, man. I think that's like looking at it. I like the line. I like the number. Obviously the Steelers, the Jets ran the ball all over the Steelers, right? So you know that a Vrabel offense is going to run the ball. So I like the way it matches up. And then you have Drake May, who was ultra efficient last week, kind of dotting them up, man. I like it.
Pittsburgh defense has just gotten old quick. They got very old, very fast. This could be Tomlin's first year under 500. I really see it. I mean, can you imagine if Rodgers goes down, I mean, that wouldn't surprise anyone. And they have looked pretty lousy. I know they beat the Jets, but that's nothing to write home about. And they let the Jets score like crazy. I think this is a very down Steelers team. I think that Rodgers' experience is going to get ugly quick. If he gets any kind of pressure, he has no mobility whatsoever. I'd take the Patriots. It's not on my
Pick
playlist.
one to start. We got a live question here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Pick one to start. Kyren Williams.
Yeah, versus the Eagles.
Yep.
Versus the Eagles or ETN versus the Texans. So, we do fantasy football, Broly. We're pretty much a fantasy football show first, as well. Fantasy football, prop bets, and gambling. Those are our three specialties.
I like Kyren Williams.
Yeah. So
I'd lean Kyren.
I'll tell you this. The Bucs got a lot of push on that Texans against that Texans front seven. And that
Chubb didn't break out
bit.
though until like the very end, and it looked like they let him score.
Correct.
Like they let him. If you look at that play, Mike Phillips, he even said everyone just pulled up, and I feel like Bowles just wanted the ball in possession to put it in Baker's hand.
I can be honest with you. I'm going ETN versus the Texans. I don't think watch the Eagles blow up that Chiefs offensive line every play. It was kind of crazy to watch. I don't see how the Rams are going to really run the ball on the Eagles. I can see more it's going to be in Stafford's hands or, handoffs to Puka. They're kind of spreading it out more. I like ETN versus the Texans instead of Kyren Williams. I'm going ETN then Kyren there. What about you?
Yeah, I'm taking Kyren just on the volume. I think he just gets so many touches, so many carries. We saw Tootin for the Jags start to slowly work his way into the offense. I think he got 8 or 9 touches. You might see a little more of that. It's a pretty close call there, Broly, but I just lean on the volume, and I think the better offense in general. But that's a tough call.
It's a tough call. I think it's week 2.
Back in the mix.
I think it's week 2. You got to go. I think you go with Kyren. Like you see, you run it like the Cowboys look good against the Eagles. You could clearly see the Rams are going to definitely do that under McVay. They're going to run the ball on the Eagles, dude. I like Kyren in that pick for sure.
Broly, good luck to you this week. Thanks for listening, and keep the questions coming, guys. All right, so and guys, look, when we're going through these picks, I'm going to say this to our hosts too, right, Buff and Dustino. We're going through the games, right, and we're going to talk about it. If you don't like it, we don't like it, right? So like me, we're not just picking to pick, right? So absolutely. Steelers, Patriots, I don't like that game either way. Anyway, I don't like the over.
I'm not touching that game.
Yeah, and it's going to be a horrible game to watch as well, right? So let's but yeah, what is up with this? I saw this stat. It was posted by our producer, Certified Rob, that what a lot of teams are running away from Watt, which is kind of stating the obvious here. But when they run at Watt, they cannot do anything, right? But when they're running away from Watt, it's like 7 yards a carry compared to 2 yards a carry. Very drastic. But the Steelers defense, which I thought was going to be the reason why they were so great. I mean, they
top drafted defense in all of fantasy. People were grabbing them like 8th round, 9th round, 10th round. You imagine?
They're getting stomped on. Hayward wanted all this money. Watt wanted all this money. They drafted more jam man-to-man cover corners to kind of
they got old quick, man.
Pass rush. And they've been embarrassing.
All right, so we're moving on from that one, right? We got the Colts Titans next. Is that what you got?
Yeah, Colts Titans. You got.
There's one of my plays.
Here's one of your plays. Go ahead, plus money.
All right, in Tennessee. All right, yeah, I'll tell you. In Tennessee, Colts are -4.5. I'm assuming. I have a feeling I know where Dustin's going here.
Yeah, it's ugly, but I like the Titans. I think the Titans and the points.
Money, right?
I'm just going to take the points. It's a divisional game. It's a home dog, and I'm leaning into that 0-2 stat. I know I'm going to keep pounding that stat at 65%. I'll take 65% all day long.
You got 3 home dog 0-2s this week. It's kind of crazy, right? Looking at the numbers as we go.
You'll hear them. They're on my plays, but listen, the Titans played the Broncos really good. If Calvin Ridley doesn't drop a couple passes that Cam Ward threw really well, they probably kick a field goal and had a chance to win that ball game. So they were right in that game against the Broncos. I think they're going to be fired up at home. Let's see what Daniel Jones does outside of the friendly confines
of
the Colts. He's got to go on the road. First game on the road for the Colts. Let's see how they do outside of the home cooking and see if his back's against the wall.
Mello, thank you for listening, buddy. That's a new name we haven't seen yet. Yeah, this guy knows how to hit a golf shot, and he also knows how to pick some winners here. That's why we have him on the show.
Yeah,
Tapped into
Melo's
these
one of my
home
guys
dogs.
in some of my fantasy leagues. He's in a lot of those dynasty leagues with us. Which, if you're not familiar with dynasty fantasy football, if you guys, as obviously big time sports guy, it's out of this world.
Trade him Xavier Worthy, bro. Trade him.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable. Dynasty fantasy football. I'm still in yearly leagues, but I'm telling you, if you ever get a chance to get invited to one of these dynasty leagues, it's like regular fantasy football on crack, on steroids. It's off the charts.
I know you've been loving that. Hey, I love this home dog pick. The one thing that scares me though, and as a Hurricane fan, I'm a little surprised, but Cam Ward has not looked right. You know what I mean? Week one. Hey, we have 48 in the building right now. Please like and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Hey, give him time. Ward's made some plays, but yeah, I agree with you. He's a rookie. We got to remember that. I think this is going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, he hasn't hit 300 yards yet for the season. I will say this, though. You watch that Denver game, it was like 8 drops, I think. Like, really
Ridley
bad
had 2 horrible ones. Just on the final drive, Ridley had 2 awful ones. If you saw Cam Ward's dad was up in the stands, he actually got out of his seat and had to pace up and down because he couldn't believe it. I mean, right in his hands. They could have had a field goal to win the game.
Yeah, Mello, I stand corrected a little bit, right? Because, Cam Ward stats-wise have not been there, but that Denver Bronco game was real bad. Last week, that first touchdown, you're living and learning. It's kind of cool to watch. I think Cam Ward has seen so many snaps in Division I football. The transition should be pretty smooth. I know that
what we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of starts under his belt. He looks poised. The stats aren't there, but he doesn't look frantic that the situation is over his head. He looks pretty poised out there.
If I was 15 or 16 years old, right? I go back to the days when I first started gambling, right? And I'm like, this is the easiest bet ever. This is one where you would say Colts, right? Oh, the Colts are 2-0. The Titans have a rookie quarterback. They don't look right. This is easy money, right? It started out at 3.5. It jumped up to 4.5. I'm actually going to ride you pretty hard on this one, Dustin. I love this play. Titans are getting points at home. They had the Bronco. That Bronco game was a tight game. They're not getting embarrassed. Yeah,
TJ, we've matured, man.
Clayton Kershaw minus 300. They cannot lose. That's easy money. I don't care if I'm risking 3,000 to win 1,000. Kershaw cannot lose. And then the Marlins beat them, and you're like, what the fuck, right? Tyson and I
talk about Vegas keeps building.
Talk about this bet a lot, right? So this was back in the day. This is when, I'm well exceeding my credit lines right then. And it was Clayton Kershaw versus the Marlins. Stanton, Yelich, and Ozuna were all not playing that game, right? Kershaw was minus 350. I'll never forget because as I'm watching this game, I put 1,000 on it, risking 3,400, right? I'm working at Ale House, and I get a 24 top of AAU basketball players. All separate checks. No gratuity was allowed to be added. So I'm just getting stuck, with this 24 top. I'm also watching 3,400 minus 340 on Clayton Kershaw, just getting busted up. And I always tell that story when it comes to when it comes to a lock and how easily this game looked on paper. Kershaw pitching against the banged up Marlins. And the Marlins ended up beating him. I think it was 3-2 or something like that. And Tyson and I gave it. If I was risking 3,400 to win $1,000, I don't even want to know what he was risking. But that was one of those games where it really set my mind to. We like to call the lead pipe locks, and we love all these plays. Bankroll management, my friend.
Yeah, be responsible, and you learn that, right? I used to be a bartender, server, all that. Always had wads of cash in my pocket. So we had disposable income at the time, or so we thought.
Yeah.
And, you just got to be careful. And that's why, as I've matured as somebody who bets or whatnot, first of all, staying within my limits, but then going against the grain. If you just go against the grain a lot of times, you end up doing pretty good. You'll see, and actually maybe a good segue here. My favorite play of the week, you're going to probably think I'm crazy, which is great. That's fine. I love the conversation. I've got the Cleveland Browns at home getting 8 against the Packers. And here's why. We're going to lean into the stat that I gave you already 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But
10 times, not 3 or 4 times. 10 times.
The
Now
Packers, Everybody's anointed the
Every
Packers.
time he mentions it, let's start.
Yeah,
digging.
right. Take a shot. Well, make it into a game. 10 in the morning is kind of tough, though. But everybody's anointed the Packers. They're the NFC Championship. They're going to be in the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, they are much improved. They're doing great. Jacobs is a little banged up. He's nursing some kind of ankle injury. The Browns defense, believe it or not, despite getting creamed by the Ravens, they held Derrick Henry to 11 carries for 23 yards.
He did.
You got no Jaden Reed. You got a little bit of a banged up Josh Jacobs. This is going to be an ugly, ugly game. I think Quinshon Judkins, shout out to my boy Deuce, who's in all those dynasty leagues with me. This guy is not shut up about Quinshon Judkins, how he thinks he's the guy. He thinks he's actually the best rookie running back in the class. I think he got eased in and looked really good. I think he gets more heavily involved. I think the Browns can stop the run. No Jaden Reed. Things have been hunky-dory for the Packers. They haven't really faced any adversity as of yet. They got up on the Lions early and kind of stomped them out. I think this is going to be interesting. This is Jordan Love's first game on the road. Give me the 8 points. I think this is going to be one of those ones. When we get to the witching hour on NFL Red Zone, you're going to be like, what the hell? How are the Browns up 6?
This could be a Survivor upset for sure. I can see people taking the Packers in Survivor and this biting a lot of people.
Absolutely. Going against fading the public. That's what we're doing here. We're taking the 8 points. The defense, like I said, bottled up Derrick Henry. It's just a tough bat. It's a bad spot for the Packers, great spot for the Browns. What do you guys think?
It's a common cliche. Vegas wasn't built on winners, right? So, yep, the fade the public thing. Also, I think in general, right, if you could give me in the NFL a touchdown plus at home, right? You just take it, and it's almost like you set it and forget it, right? So, the Browns +8 at home, and I kind of like that too. I mean, it's a little
ugly.
It's ugly. Green Bay's that good, but I could see that being a 20-14 game, right? 17-16
100%.
game.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep. All right, I like that one. Let's go to Raiders at Commanders.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I think you can't do anything until you find out what's going on with Jaden Daniels. You can't make a significant play here until then. Once I find that out, then obviously they're going to take the line down. I think he's going to play. But that's a tricky one. I don't love that game. We could pass on it if you want.
Yeah, it's the big unknown, right? I mean, not like Eckler, not like that news changes anything. But that was such an impressive game by the Packers and how Parsons was getting in almost every play and just annihilating Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
But we don't know if he's healthy. That's a clear stay away game. What about Jets at Bucks? Bucks are -6.5 over under 43.5. Bucks are trying to go to 3-0. The Jets, Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I have no faith in that guy.
But he's an old wily vet that can manage an offense. He can hand the ball off, and I think that's what you're going to see. Buff, you got any insight? I lean Jets if I had to. I think they're just going to muck up the game. The Bucks have a lot of injuries. I just think you're going to get 20 carries from Breece Hall. You're going to get 10 carries from Braylon Allen, and it's just going to be running the ball.
Yeah, I think Gene's going to be real happy to watch this game. I think the Jets are going to have a chance. I will say the Bucks, given 6.5, I'm like, it's uncomfortable for me. I don't agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I
don't like it. I don't like it. I like the Jets. I mean, obviously, certain numbers are going to make you more comfortable. That one's a little too close. We just know that the Bucks aren't healthy. That's all.
The Bucks offensive line is really banged up, but I feel like Wirfs might be coming back, right? Maybe.
Yeah, he's questionable this week.
And then they lost their guard too, right? I think they lost. I mean, but obviously we're probably staying away from that game, but I don't know. I could see that just being another blowout. I mean, the Bucks are a pretty good team, but I also, if we learned anything from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they don't like to blow out anybody, right? So that could be another thing. Tyson likes to kind of lead us.
That could lead us into another game. I think there's two teams that I really like when they're underdogs, Bucks being one of them. The other one is the Falcons. When they're underdogs, I love being on those teams, right? Because I think they're a little undervalued, but I hate those two teams when they're favorites. The Falcons never put anybody away. They always play these close games, and it comes down to Younghoe Koo or whatever. It's always a kick at the buzzer in those games. And I like the Panthers going into that game. Again, another team with their back against the wall. I just don't like when the Falcons are favored. When they're a favorite, especially more than a field goal, they're favored by 5 against Carolina. Again, another divisional dog back against the wall. I'm going to take the points. I think it's a field goal game. It's going to come down to the wire. So I'll take the points.
Yeah. You're talking about which game now?
Falcons Panthers and Falcons. I mean, obviously, I invested into Ted McMillan because I believe the Panthers are going to be a garbage time sweetheart, right?
Yep.
They're going to be down. They're going to be throwing. Bryce Young, obviously, he's got some moxie, and he's going to be a competitor through and through. He's going to get the ball to his studs, Hunter Renfrow, all these guys running around the middle. I definitely like the number on that. The Falcons, they don't ever blow you out. They run the ball down your throat to control the clock, and you always have a chance, right? And
Falcons could easily be 2-0. Oh, yeah, really quick, though. I mean, Tyson kind of said it, and then I'm looking at it now. That Jets-Bucks 43.5 seems real high. Tyrod Taylor is going to be, like you said, hand the ball off a lot, check down king. Jets have a good defense.
You think Tyrod Taylor runs a little bit? You think you might like his rushing yards? It might be a good prop.
They're both going to be running the ball a lot. I actually really like that under. That could be a lead pipe lock after I do a little more research on that one. But that number seems real high, 43.5. I would think that would be more of a 39.5, 40.5 kind of over under there, especially with the Bucs offensive line being so banged up, right? But yeah, the Falcons, they so you're saying you like the Panthers?
Yeah, I like the Panthers and the points. I don't think it's anything you go berserk on, but the Falcons are one of those teams, whenever you get fired up, oh, this is their year. They got all these weapons. Well, they just never beat anybody by a significant margin. I think Panthers hang in the game. I just like when teams' backs are against the wall. Their backs against the wall at 0-2. Everybody's counting them out, how horrible they are. I think they'll give it a game.
I would agree with you usually, but I'll say this. I think the Falcons offense looked amazing versus the Vikings. And I think that the Falcons early on sensed that J.J. McCarthy is not ready for the NFL. And why take a chance with our young quarterback and put the ball in the air? But if you watch that game early on, the way Pitts was getting catches and how Penix was moving the ball, and then I just felt like the Falcons were like, why would we take a chance here? We're just going to run it into the ground and then just take the win, right? But I think the Falcons, if they want to, they could have easily have won that game by 3 or 4 possessions instead of 2, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things. And they saw that McCarthy couldn't do anything against them, and so there's no need to start risking it. I think Penix can sling it 100%. I'm heavily invested on underdog in my DraftKings, in my dynasty leagues, in Bijan Robinson and Drake London. They're just 2 guys that I love. I think London has a chance to put up a top 5 season. The volume has been there. He hasn't really blown up yet. I think it's coming.
Yet, yeah,
it hasn't really cashed, but it's coming because of the volume. And Penix can sling it, man.
How good does Pitts look?
Yeah,
too? Like,
he looks incredible.
Yeah, Pitts looks like he's having a resurgence.
Like
he's 26. He never.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've all been waiting. We've all been waiting for Pitts, but I say this about Bijan, and you say it about Saquon.
He's incredible.
It looks different when Bijan has the ball in his hand.
He's unbelievable.
He always gets through that first layer of defense. And then when you watch Pitts, it also looks different, right?
Yeah.
Like when he catches the ball, like you're watching it on a far TV in the back. You're like, who is that? Oh, that's Pitts. That's number 8. I think it's number 8, right? But I think the problem with Pitts is I think now he's more of like a receiver than he is a tight end, right? Mm-hmm. But he's lining up a lot out wide. But the guy just looks special.
Yeah, and he may finally be healthy, right? He came back off that knee injury, and there's all the reports were that he just was not fully back. Sometimes it takes guys. Look at Javonte Williams, we just talked about. He looks kind of fully back. I think Pitts looks pretty much fully back, and if he is, then he's that top 10 pick that he was drafted with, right? And that's a cheat code in fantasy football.
Oh yeah, and you know what's crazy too is like we've all been kind of like it's this rhetoric that we're like, yeah, we got Pitts could be healthy, could be bouncing back. The guy's 24 years old, right? So like a lot of us kind of wrote him off a little bit, like, oh, he's not the guy. He had a great year in college, overdrafted. but you could see why 52 people in the building, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. But Pitts just looks different on the field, just like Bijan, just like you said, Drake London.
Well,
I think
Penix
these guys
loves
are
him.
special.
As long as you got your quarterback buying in that camp, he said this is going to be a great year for Pitts. So, I mean, that instantly tells you get Bijan, you got London, and you got Pitts, right? Those are offense options, 1, 2, and 3. Mix them up as you will.
And I just don't see Carolina. I don't see Carolina as a fan base really like, it's not like
there's no excitement there.
I don't see the energy being there in Carolina. I almost think this is going to be somewhat of a home game for Atlanta because they're so close to each other, and Atlanta historically travels really well. So I'll be staying away from this game. I know you said you like it. You don't love it.
Yeah, but, exactly. In some of those pools, if you're in a pool and you've got to pick all the games against a number, I'm taking the Panthers, but it's not something I'm taking any of my hard-earned money on.
All right, just a few games, and then we'll talk Survivor, right? You got Broncos, Chargers?
Yeah, so I feel like we talked about the Rams, Eagles, but this is the game of the 1 o'clocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it a little bit more of like a deeper dive, right? I mean, is there anything that we love or hate here? The Eagles are at home, -3.5.
I like the points. I'm just taking the points and what I think is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a good game, good barometer game for the Rams because they've looked great the first 2 weeks. Let's see what they do now against an upper echelon team. I'd take the points.
Yeah.
Does Jalen Hurts throw a touchdown this game?
I think he does. I think he's going to be forced to.
Yeah, they'll finally kind of have to. Yeah, they won't be having an early lead, right?
It's probably to Goddard, right?
And also it'll be interesting to see like
plays.
Stafford, right, and see how like Devontae's looked really good this year. Rams are scary, man, and if they're, you feel like they're one injury away, maybe, but if they stay healthy, that team is scary. With the, you have Kyron, you have Puka, you have Stafford. I mean, Devontae. That's a scary lineup right there. Let's jump into the 4 o'clock games. Yep, we said Broncos at Chargers.
Yep.
Chargers -2.5. 45.5 seems a little high for me too. Two great defenses. But I don't think nothing really pops out of me here. I don't know how you could love anything here. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Dustin.
Which game we on? Sorry. Broncos Chargers. I'm taking the points. I think the Broncos are a tough team. They're really good. Again, everybody's high on the Chargers. For me, it's a stay-away game. It's a game I want to watch. I can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah.
But I don't think from a gambling perspective, that is a tough ball game to take. I'm just going to take points, but I really don't have a definitive opinion either way. Herbert's looks amazing. He's got girlfriend power. I'm calling it. He's got you get that new girlfriend and you want to show off for her. I mean, that dude is balling. He's kind of doing what everybody's wanted him to do. He's kind of always had the talent, but kind of disappointed the last few years. He looks incredible. He looks great.
Buff, what do you got? I want to ask you guys a question after you're done with that.
Yeah, I like the Chargers, man. I'm really into this AFC West division and how it's going to turn out. I think it's one of the better storylines of the entire league. Obviously, you have the Raiders trying to come up, but these two teams are going to be fighting for playoff spots. And then obviously you got the Chiefs, and the Chiefs we'll talk about them. They're going to the Giants. The Chargers, I want to see their defense. They got this elite defense, and I've been really impressed with what they've been able to do.
Great.
And I want to see how they actually hold up against this Sean Payton offense, and I want to know what they do against Bo Nix. And this is one of two matches, and this is the Chargers' time at home. So yeah, I'm like you said, I'm more from a fan perspective and seeing what it's going to do for the seeding of the AFC and at the top over there, because this looks like a playoff potential matchup right here.
I see a lot of field goals this game. Listen, guys, so I drafted Bo Nix like 8th round, right?
You did, and Evan Ingram.
And Evan Ingram in like the 9th, right? Or something like that. But now I'm on week 3. I've yet to play Bo Nix in week 1 or week 2. This week, I have a chance to either play Tua tonight, who I picked up off waiver wires, or Bo Nix. I don't want to play Bo Nix versus that Chargers defense.
Here's the problem. Tua, I mean, they could get blown out. I mean, as much as
you're looking at garbage time, right?
Yeah, we like the Tua over 1.5. There's not a 0% chance that if Buffalo's up huge, that with Tua's concussion history, blah, 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 they're down 31-6, that he gets just kind of put on ice for the remainder of the fourth quarter or something like that. The big thing with Nix, I think you have the rushing floor. He runs around. He's going to get you 20, 30, 40 yards on the ground. So even, yes, the Chargers defense is tough. I just think that you get the floor with Bo Nix. I can't see how you could trust Tua. I know it's on the road. I know it's not terrible weather, but I got to take Nix. I got to go with the pedigree there and the guy you drafted in the 8th round.
That's going to be a tough decision. And I don't ever really yield to like, oh, I want the action tonight or anything like that. I do love the Tua over 1.5. I think the injury thing is kind of past Tua. I think Bosa looks old and slow out there, so I don't think he's going to be putting a lot of pressure on. I could see the Tua kind of almost what he did last week, where he was
Tyson Thomas says you're better off starting Zach Wilson.
That's yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Tua threw for 2 touchdowns and 300 yards last game. People forget about that.
Yeah, Geno Smith.
But you knew he was going to. That was his setup, right?
I mean, that was a setup because it was in Miami.
No Christian Gonzalez. Geno Smith looked like an MVP against the Patriots.
No, the
Patriots. I don't know how much we can count that.
Patriots defense is really hobbled. I could be honest with you. I think I'm a little crazy for doing this, but I think I'm going to roll out Tua today. I think that.
Right. Well, hey. Now you give some people a reason to tune in, right? For your recap.
Yeah, TK, bro, garbage time king. Let him come out tonight.
I feel like that. I don't think he's going to get hurt, and I think that the Dolphins have way too much speed on offense. I think that they're going to have to score. The Dolphins' defense is that bad, and unless this game gets real out of control, which Vegas thinks is going to be an 11-point game, which that's considered a blowout as NFL lines go, but I think it's going to be more of like a 35-24 game maybe, or 35-28 game. And I can see that Tua's going to have to produce. And Tyreek Hill and those guys, they all just want to get back on the field real quick and try to make up for that one loss. And, they can shock the world. And I'm pretty sure, too, the Dolphins have some real winnable games the next couple of weeks. So I have a feeling that they're kind of talking like they play Carolina, the Browns, and the Falcons the next 3 out of 4. Chargers are mixed in there. But
hey, I got to take for you. If they get beat, I would say, and they just look like they're dead and there's no effort, I don't know if Mike McDaniel's coaching them their next ball game.
I know.
I mean, that owner has been known to do some wild things and make midseason changes. And that team I know they looked better against the Patriots.
Mike McDaniel's energy's been off. He doesn't seem like he's comfortable.
Correct.
Cool, Mr. Sunshades hitting the vape pen on the sideline. He seems like he's fucking aging. He looks a little bit older. He was all young and handsome last year. Now he's looking like he's got the wrinkles. The stress is eating him up. He's hitting the bottle. I don't know what's going on with Mike McDaniel's over there.
I mean, are we unsure? Are we unsure that Tyreek Hill doesn't take off his jersey at halftime and run off and pull an Antonio Brown? I mean, it's just it doesn't look like they want to play for one another, and that's what scares me about the game. That's why I'm staying away from it, and that's why I'll play the Tua thing to tell you for for the 1.5.
I like the Tua. I like the Tua take
as fun, but that game really scares me, and that team scares me, and I would not be. There's a reason that if you go, they actually have these lines. If first coach should be fired, he's by far and away the favorite.
No, he's
like
the
minus
favorite.
300.
And we all joke that his interviews, and I know he's battled sobriety, and I know he's been sober for a while, but
he looks like checked out.
His interviews look weird. Of course they look weird because he's getting asked weird questions, but some of his words are really drawn out. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I know what it looks like when someone's not right. And we're going to assume he's sober, obviously, but something doesn't look right. I think that all that said, I think the Dolphins make this a game tonight. I don't know if I'm trying to put that in the universe and willing it.
Yeah, you are. Hey, we all got to tell ourselves a story, man.
Yeah,
but I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, and the reason why we brought that up was just I was just debating on Bo Nix. Let's go to the next one. Saints.
Seattle, New Orleans.
Do we really want to even talk about that game?
Nah, that's an ugly one.
It's an ugly one.
I will say
it's a popular survivor pick. I'll tell you that. A lot of people are going to be going Seattle.
A lot of people are going Seattle at home.
It's going to be a one to watch for that matchup just alone right there.
Ready for a stat? I got a quick one for you before obviously I don't think anybody's been knocked out of Survivor really that much this year. every favorite over 4 points so far, first 2 weeks, 4 or more, has won the ball game.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been any big upsets yet in the NFL.
Yeah,
so,
survivor pools have been pretty minimal.
Yeah.
We do a recap of our survivor pool, Dustin, and with our I lost both of my survivor picks last week, but we do a buyback you get one buyback before week 6.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I took some chances with the Dolphins and the Steelers. But yeah, so far survivor pool wise, pretty much everyone's been getting through to the next week, right? Because
I think the big picks in that have got to be Buffalo this week if you haven't used them. Seattle's a great spot because, I mean, when else are you going to take Seattle? They're playing the worst team in the NFL and they're home.
And it's an East Coast, West Coast trip.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And Rattler has looked better than I thought he would look, but he's also been 2 home games. Yep. So now he's got to step out. Totally different when you get on the road.
Play the 12, dude.
Man, I've been to that stadium. It is loud. I've never been in a louder stadium. It's insane out there. I'm not taking this game one way or the other, but Survivor, that's a great play because a lot of people are going to be on the Bills.
100%.
I can be honest with you, looking at it more and more, and as we're talking about it, I mean, is there any way the Saints keep this game close? I mean,
I don't think so. I know Rattler's a little
Kamara
better
looks
than
cooked. They can't. Rattler can't air the ball. Jawan Johnson's their number 1 receiver. I mean,
the way they keep it close is if Sam Darnold continues to be, just a product of that Vikings offense, right?
The only way the Seahawks lose this game is if
Darnold makes
they come out and shit the bed. That's it.
Yep.
That's on them.
I agree with that.
Cardinals, 49ers.
That's a tough one.
They're both 2-0. Divisional game. Niners have a look great. You got Mac Jones leading the helm, right?
Yeah, it's a stay away game for me, but I kind of lean Cardinals. It's San Fran -2.5, -120, which means money's coming in on the Niners. So it's kind of leaning toward going to 3. Yeah. If it goes to 3, I'd touch the Cardinals a little bit. I think they got a lot of talent on the team. Obviously, Kyler Murray has his limitations as a quarterback. I don't think he's anybody you ever win in a Super Bowl with, but yeah,
Kyler Murray wearing a Michael Vick jersey, hanging out with a pit bull. Is this rhetoric that you want for your quarterback before a 2-0 matchup against a divisional rival?
Well, keep in mind when Michael Vick was, doing the dogfighting thing, Kyler Murray was like 5 or 6 years old, right?
Sure.
So when Kyler Murray first posted that, I don't think he even knew. Michael Vick is.
You think he was so unaware he had no idea?
No, I think he knows about the Michael Vick thing, but I think when he posted it, he was totally not thinking of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so long ago.
Trying to send a message or anything like that saying.
I think I disagree. I think Kyler was hitting it for likes or for popular, like for whatever. Like he was wearing a fit that was like coordinated to go with everything. I don't think anything that he did was unthought. You know what I mean? I think it was all pre-planned. And I think that it's kind of weird because they're actually 2-0 and relevant right now. And then you just cause these distractions. He's already had to come out and apologize. So to your defense, maybe he didn't know. I just don't see. And maybe this is just the difference of the kid nowadays. But how can you not be a historian of the league and what it means and how everything just has a purpose and so many things are so cryptic whenever you wear certain things or certain people are so cerebral with the messages? Is he just such a fucking idiot that he had no idea what he was doing because he just plays Call of Duty and he's for double XP? It just seems beyond me that he had no idea that this would be a consequential action for him to
Vic
make.
paid his debt to Vic paid his debt to society. I forgive him. And
I don't disagree with that, right?
But I just think that Kyler Murray was just kind of like being a little flaky. I guess the point. I guess what we're saying is,
that's what I'm saying. He wanted this to happen
and do something crazy, or was he just being kind of flaky? And the guy probably has 8 Michael Vick jerseys and had one on when he posted the thing on. I don't think it was like one of those.
Yeah, maybe it was a shout out to him or something, but it was just in bad taste.
It was in bad taste.
I just think it was tone deaf, like Gene says in the chat. I think that's perfect. I just think it was in bad taste, and it's going to agitate some people. And why do you want to alienate some people? I don't think it was a great.
It's bad before a 2-0 divisional matchup before the Niners. I mean,
right.
If I'm the Niners, I'm going there with fucking kibbles and bits bags and throwing it like I'm like.
I think that the Niners win this game, and I think they could win it pretty easily. Not like either of these teams had a very hard start to the season because they both have played the Saints.
Yep.
But Arizona has not looked good. They've had the easiest schedule, obviously, so far, only 2 games in. Mac Jones, I
Should
don't
be a
think
good ball
there's a
game.
huge drop off there either with Mac Jones. And I think Shanahan might get Mac Jones a job next year also. Kind of how he did with Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah, I mean, can we definitively say that Mac Jones sucks? Okay, now, do I think he's upper echelon quarterback? No. I've seen enough of him in New England. But that situation in New England wasn't exactly cozy.
Well, it's not
I mean,
good.
that was after Tom Brady. They had no weapons. They had
kept
no
starting.
coaching.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So I can't say that the guy's horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
he could be another Darnold or a Mayfield, where just getting him in a comfy situation where he's got weapons, a good coach, some stability. He looked pretty good. 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked pretty good on the road. We know the Saints' offense is nothing to sneeze at, but their defense isn't exactly atrocious. I thought he looked okay. Should be interesting. This will be a good test for him.
Be a great
Yeah,
test.
I like the Niners there, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure. Let's talk about this Giant Chiefs game.
There we
right?
go. 2 more games to go.
Yeah, we got 2.
This
we got,
is your team, guys. Break it down.
2 big Giant fans here. I gained for how much I did not like signing Russell Wilson. I hated how the Giants handled the Russell Wilson situation by anointing him the starter before training camp. I thought Dayball and our GM are fighting for their jobs. And if you're going to fight for your job, why not have the quarterbacks and everybody on that roster fight for their job, right? And I hate how we just gave Russell Wilson the keys to the Ferrari, or not the Ferrari, the keys to the Chevette, and said, hey, take this team as far as we can go. But that's what we did. Russell Wilson was getting brutalized in the media, right? Not just New York media, everywhere. And he comes out and throws for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. On that note, you got 2 teams with their backs against the wall. The difference is it's in New York, and the Giants were expected to be 0-2. The Chiefs,
Is Russell in the Hall of Fame?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. I don't remember.
He's bended too, right? 1-1, lost
game.
one. Should have gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch. If he gets that second ring, he probably is definitely in, right?
Yes, I would say that for sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to look up his stats. To me, just right off the hop, I don't put him in that Hall of Fame caliber. I'd have to dig deeper into his stats to really.
I'm just saying, I think that's the reason
Yeah.
why the Giants anointed him, right?
But you want to know why?
It's
I
the
don't put him-
clear, it's the ring, the experience, it's his last shot. This is it.
They were trying to
you know
catch
why?
lightning in a bottle.
there's a reason why I don't have him as a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was a Hall of Fame quarterback for Seattle for some of those years, for sure. I think he is an NFL MVP, I'm pretty sure. 2 Super Bowl appearances, and the story of Russell Wilson was cool, but he's had so many down years, and to get kicked out of 2 cities, and now it's going to maybe be 3 cities, right?
He fell hard.
He fell hard. And yeah, when he was at the top, of course, he was really good, but he wasn't there long enough. And he had too many down years to be a Hall of Fame. Like Aaron Rodgers has kind of not had the best last couple years, but he had 15 amazing. Russell Wilson has not had that. Right?
Sure.
But yeah, the Giants-Chiefs game, it's going to be close. That New York Stadium will be pumping just because of how hard we fought against Dallas. It gave Giant fans hope, but now we are seeing a Patrick Mahomes and an Andy Reid. This is uncharted territory.
He's going to come in with the red eyes. He's going to be looking
Travis
evil and
Kelce
shit.
looks pissed, but he also looks focused. And if I know anything about Travis Kelce, even though that catch was real hard to make, Patrick Mahomes threw a 90-mile-per-hour fastball with a defensive back hanging over his. But I guarantee Travis Kelce in the practices this week is taking full blame for that. That's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of family the Kelce family is.
He hasn't won a game since he's gotten engaged. It's crazy, right?
Chris Jones is good. I feel bad for every Giants offensive lineman because Chris Jones is going to come in pumped up. I'm scared for the Giants as a Giant fan, but I think that's going to be a dogfight. And obviously, we're not betting this game.
It's a statement game. If you guys win this, it galvanizes that your team is better than anyone's thought, in which we know you have an Elite 7. You guys have played a couple of close games. This would just be an incredible storyline win. It would be the story of the week if you guys beat the Chiefs and the Chiefs go 0-3.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs are 1-1, I take the Giants all day long.
Yeah.
I just hate the fact that they're 0-2.
Yep.
And I just can't see.
There's no way they
Reed
go
and
0-3,
Mahomes.
right? You just can't see it. There's no way.
It could happen, and we already talked about going against the grain. So the Giants would certainly be the
Everyone's going to be going Chiefs. I know that's going to be another popular survivor pick.
And they
Chiefs
could cover the
Giants.
spread. They could cover the spread, but this front seven, where are you? Where are you? I've heard about it. We've got all the guys. Let's get to the quarterback. We needed one play against the Cowboys, one play on that final drive to go make a sack, to push them back, and they couldn't get it done. And
I'm not trying to overreact here, but this Abdul Carter, like one tackle in 2 games.
Come on, let's see it, man.
I don't understand.
I'm with you.
And I hate how he gave up 230 rushing yards to the Commanders week 1.
Yeah.
And I hate maybe 220, whatever it was. It was over 200. And we're all
Don't
saying
be surprised, right? Dabo and Shane, jobs on the line. Don't be surprised if they give up 30 burger to the Chiefs to see that defensive coordinator not be scapegoated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about that already that, again, if your butt's on the line and you might get fired, well, maybe I fire my assistant manager first. So everybody looks that way and says, well, it's because of the defensive coordinator.
The deficiencies on defense, yeah.
He could be scapegoated. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, I know we got to wrap it up. We're getting close to to our mark here. We got Lions Ravens.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game.
This is the highest line of the day, right? 53.5. Detroit's plus money. Ravens getting getting 4.5. Yeah, they're giving 4.5.
Giving, yeah. I'm taking the points. I like the Lions. I think they bounced back pretty good. Obviously, last week against the Bears. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm excited for this game.
Oh, I am really excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. As a Jahmyr Gibbs owner, I'm hoping for a real big day. I'm actually playing Buff in our big league here, but I could really see just being a lot of fun. And Dan Campbell sent the message last week, and I don't think Dan Campbell sent the message as far like to Ben Johnson. I think it was more of Dan Campbell trying to put his coordinators on a pedestal there and said, hey, you guys bashed my coordinators week 1. We're going to run up this score just to kind of, what I'm trying to say, to kind of lift up his offensive and defensive coordinators.
Oh, he wanted to show him who was boss.
Yeah. And, I think Ben Johnson's obviously a real sharp guy, and he's going to have a great future with Chicago. But this was a Dan Campbell saying, hey, I got my guys' backs here kind of thing. Dan Campbell doesn't need accolades. Everybody loves Dan Campbell. But this win was more for his coordinators. And it'll be interesting to see if this carries over to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson just looks unstoppable. They have Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. They have Bateman running deep, and now you have Hopkins as that hybrid possession guy that could also beat you deep.
It's crazy though. They're both 1-1. One of these teams are going to be 1-2, right? And seeing the Lions or Ravens at 1-2, nobody thought that was going to happen either.
Yeah.
There's a little revenge.
Best offenses in the NFL. Could be the 2 best offenses in the NFL.
I agree. I think there's a. I mean, this is 2 years ago, 2023. There's a little revenge factor. If you remember, the Ravens kicked the crap out of them 38-6 in 2023 in Baltimore. I don't think Dan Campbell's the kind of guy that forgets stuff like that. I think that's up. I think that's on the bulletin
board material. Yep.
I mean, they got embarrassed. Remember, the Lions were really good. They've been good the last 2 years, but they were really good, and they got embarrassed.
It's also going to be the highest over-under. This could be the highest over-under we see all year, too.
Oh, 53.5 is a huge number, dude.
Yeah, that's a big number.
And it's going to be fun to watch. I just think that there's so many weapons over here. And if you're a Zay Flowers owner, or if you're Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamison Williams, man, buckle up.
You see the stat, Lamar Jackson now holds the highest career passing rating in NFL history.
Yeah, you want to know why?
Great.
Harbaugh took the chance and built. They drafted and built and turned an offense. They totally built it around Lamar Jackson. I mean, the offense looks different, right? Like they primarily run pistol. They run more pistol, I'm pretty sure, than anybody in the NFL. And then they got the backup, 3 quarterbacks that can only run that style of offense. I actually said it'd be cool for Anthony Richardson to get behind Lamar Jackson, and then a team try to maybe do what they did with Lamar. But Harbaugh took a chance, and that GM took a chance a long time ago, and they said, we are changing the whole way the NFL looks at it. And I think that if they would have did that with Michael Vick, that would have been, instead of just kind of making it a run and shoot style, you run it around Lamar. I mean, how many times do we see Lamar Jackson get the snap? It's weird, but Lamar Jackson doesn't have to go to the third reads in the pocket. That's not who Lamar Jackson is, right?
No.
Lamar Jackson, it's either a run where he's getting a lot of great blocking, a lot of 2 tight end sets. But when he drops back, it's 1 or maybe 2 reads. And then guess what, Lamar? Just run backwards and run out and either run or throw it away, right? But it's like this style of when you watch Lamar Jackson play quarterback, I swear to you, it's like there's no risks. That's why his passer rating is so high. It's literally like he drops back. If the read isn't there or the second read's not there, just run backwards and you can either run
Give
for
your
a
guys
couple
time.
yards.
Give your guys time to get open.
We have 57 in the building right now. It could be our high. We'll keep talking for a little bit. But I really see like the way I think it's just cool how the Ravens literally said, we're going to build an offense around you, Lamar, and we're going to build it to your liking. We're not going to jam you into a run and shoot kind of style. Or, I think the worst you could do for Lamar Jackson is run like a 4 wide receiver set, put it out wide where he has to read. Is it cover 2, cover 3, or man? He has to check the blitz, right? That's not Lamar. And I'm not saying Lamar's not a smart guy, but just
what's happened to him in the playoffs. Right? In the playoffs, when they've been getting bounced, it's because they get down early. Right? If they get down early, he is not a great. I know, I'm sure he's done it a few times. He's not great coming from behind 21-0 or something like that. Because that's not his game. His game is get ahead of you and just step on your neck. It's not going 4 wide and making this huge comeback by just throwing the ball, 50 times.
Yeah, Lamar's ideal game, we can all agree, right, is like 250, 2 rushing and a throwing or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's about what you would expect from Lamar. I expect him to run for another 1,000 yards this year. You're giving him an extra game. The guy's just going to have a moment or two this season where he's going to be dancing for 50 or 60 and he's just gone up the middle. He does it every time. He's incredible, dude. I don't know how he didn't get MVP last year. I know Allen had a great year, and he's just lining up again. We're about to see him on full display Monday night. The world's going to watch, and I'll guarantee one thing: Lamar's going to put up a show, bro. It's going to be fire.
And that's why everyone's saying that the Ravens lost that game by not going for it, right? Like,
of course.
To me, there is nobody
in this game. Flash forward, same situation, and they're 4th and 3. Do they go for it this game?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely, right? There's no way you kick to the Lions.
It's okay to put them in field goal range right away because then they have a short field, right?
Shortens the field. You talked about that. You don't get that middle.
Now would have gave up that field goal. Give up that field goal. Go down 1. Because then guess what? You got Lamar Jackson. We saw what he did against Buffalo. I thought that was Lamar Jackson's true coming out moment. Mark Andrews ended up dropping the ball, and it was a weird play. I don't blame Mark Andrews for that. Mark Andrews was focused on the out of bounds, all this stuff. But Lamar Jackson marched 90 yards down the field in the cold, in the playoffs with no timeouts.
Out of his homie, right to the game winner.
He's got to get over that hump, right? It's kind of like Michael Jordan getting past the Pistons or whatever.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the AFC so interesting, right? Is because you have Josh Allen and Lamar, arguably the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Neither one's been to the Super Bowl yet, right? So who's going to get over that hump this year and maybe get it done? To your point, TJ, about not putting a square peg in a round hole, that's what worries me about Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
When I scouted Caleb Williams coming out of college, I very rarely saw him take 3 steps back and throw a pass. And I think that's what the Ben Johnson offense wants to do. So I know obviously we're not beating a dead horse, but that connection, that Caleb Ben Johnson thing, I don't know if it's going to work. We'll find out this weekend.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah. Hey, Dustino, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, appreciate it, boys.
I think that we're going to try to work something out to either have you back or kind of get you going on your own thing, but you're going to be part of Pop Sports Network, hopefully.
Love it, man. Had a blast.
We love your picks.
Talking with boys,
Yeah, I love the veteran plays with the home dogs. That's one of those things that your grandpa tells you when you're at the dinner table and you're like, you always take a home dog. And I'm like, but Papu.
If they're 0-2 and they're home, you know, understand the numbers.
How can
how can the Packers lose to the Browns? There's no way.
Exactly, right? Hey, Jeff and I always said it. Hey, if it was that easy and you just went what happened the week before, everybody would be millionaires, right? But it's like it's pretty fun to watch. That's why we love the NFL. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I love how everybody hung in there today. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Prop Stars out.
You guys having me on.
Get us out there.
Absolutely.
One love.